congratulations.
Thank you.
Going very well.
It is, yeah.
Kind of what are your favorite weird things from this past season?
Oh, man.
Because so much of it is weird. What are your favorite weird things?
I'd have to say my favorite weird things. One of them, and I'll say this first because it's airing this coming week, is the Dreams episode, where we wanted to just do something that had different art styles. So it's like, okay, well, like what do all the Titans dream about? And then all their dreams have a different visual style, you know? So like if you've seen the clip online, like Starfire's dream is adorable. It sort of has a Mary Blair feel to it. And then everybody else's dreams are kind of like consistent with their character. So I won't spoil it all because it's pretty fun, but I did wear, we did this bit where there's like a giant, like Silky dreams that he's a real person, and it's like a giant mascot head, and it's a real person walking around, and it's pretty hysterical. One of the other ones is the birds episode we did with the mockingbirds, which was an episode that I wanted to do early on, but we couldn't figure out what the story was, so we kind of tabled it. And I wanted to do it because I had a new baby, and there was this mockingbird who was outside our apartment, and it would not shut up. Like just all night, this mockingbird is going nuts. And I forget what they call him, but it's the mockingbird who can't find a mate, and it just sings all night long, just looking for somebody to come and just like get down with. And this mockingbird is driving me nuts, and I was like, I want to do an episode where the Teen Titans go to war with birds, because I'm sick of these birds. I hate birds. So, but we couldn't figure out like what the story was, and then unbeknownst to me, like one of our storyboard teams, which was Jeff Mendicow and Sean Kreiner and Dave Stone and their director Luke Cormican, were all working on this dumb story about birds, just in their spare time. Like they're in the room, like wouldn't it be funny to do a dumb show about like birds? And they worked it all out, like on paper, like thumbnail drawings, and they pitched it to me, and I was like, this is great. And I took it to Michael, and he's like, this is ridiculous, but let's do it. You know, so it's like, all right, let's do it. So that one was really fun.
Do you find that a lot of ideas for episodes have different creative processes because they are so random, and food and lunch desires withstanding, like push those aside? Some of these other ones, I mean, are they created organically, or do you feel like there is kind of a starting and end point?
Well, usually we try to do it we try to make it come from a character, so it feels natural or believable, you know. So like, or sometimes it's like we want to pair characters that don't get teamed up a lot, you know. Like Cyborg and Beast Boy stories are obvious, so like we generally like don't do a lot of those just because it's hard to write a story. And one of the things we like to do is not tell the same story over and over again, or tell a story that has been told over and over again, you know. So like we try not to do jokes that are really familiar or stories that are familiar, or if we do, it's like we're subverting your expectations, so the story looks like it's going one way and then it goes another way. Like for instance, for season 2, like Starfire and Cyborg had some really funny scenes in season 1, like in the first Terror episode when they watch daytime TV together, and they're both like very kind of like sweet and energetic characters, and they seem like, well, why don't they hang out? So like we wrote an episode about, you know, like what happens when Cyborg and Starfire hang out and their childlike exuberance, you know, gets out of control. So yeah, it generally stems from, you know, aside from when there's a bird outside my window that's driving me nuts, or you know, like I'm hungry for lunch. Like it generally stems from like some aspect of the character that we want to kind of track through the episode.
You know, you kind of said the thing about, you know, it seems random, but let's do it. That kind of seems like the overall theme of it. So is there a limit to kind of the randomness? Are there things that you're like, that's just a little bit too weird that we can't do?
No, I'd say no. I don't think there's anything that's too weird. I mean, like, there's random in the sense that, like, the story doesn't make sense, and we don't do that. Like, I don't like that type of humor where it's just like, hey, what do you want to eat for dinner? Like, I don't know, the street. It's like, that's not funny. I don't know, I'm trying to think of like a random example.
You're laughing.
I don't know, maybe that's a good joke. Maybe I should remember that for later. But, you know, it's like, I don't know. Random is interesting. I think there's a fine line between absurd and random, you know, and I guess we're towing it all the time. But in terms of like, you know, the stories and where they come from, I guess there is like a random nature to it. But to us, it feels very natural and organic, like how we arrived there. But I will say that there was one moment this season when like generally, like I was the guy who was like pushing for like weirder stuff, you know. And then there's an episode this season that Jelinek was doing. Like somebody pitched, one of our writers pitched an eating competition story, and it's like that sounds like it's going to be boring, right? But you know, I mean, the eating is such a big part of the show. It's like, okay, well, but so there's probably something there. So he goes like, well, their bellies just keep getting bigger and bigger, and then they have to start punching each other to get smaller. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, no, trust me, like, it'll work. And I'm like, and at this point, like, you know, 80-something episodes in, like, we've written, like, most of season 2, or, like, a little over half of season 2. It's like, all right, let's do it. Sure. Why not? And it's like, because we've got this, like, we've got the capabilities to be like, all right, well, we can make a story about anything, you know? Like, as long as it's like, okay, like, Cyborg and Beast Boy are both, like, they love to eat, and they're sort of like the lazy, like, slackers on the crew, so... all right, that naturally that's like character specific, and we can make that work as a story. But the way he was talking about it, I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'm going to trust you on this one. And then the storyboard came back, and the episodes were really funny. So,
has anything changed in terms of kind of how you guys approach this new season? Because season 1, it was all about getting out to the public and saying, just give us a chance. And now, yeah. I mean, there's got to be at least a little bit of calmness. I mean, you see kind of the reaction from the youngsters. Like, does that kind of give you a whole new, I guess, mindset for this season?
I don't know. I mean, I think we were pretty like confident in what we were doing. Like, we weren't confident that people were going to like it. Well, I mean, in abroad, like, we didn't know if the people were gonna like it. We were definitely on the fence about like whether old fans would like it, and I think we've definitely like converted some. Like, that's like the most satisfying thing to me is like when I see somebody like on Tumblr or whatever, who's like they've screen capped something funny and they're just like, God, I want to hate this show, but I can't. You know, yeah. I'm just like, gotcha, love it. But no, I think our creative process has stayed pretty much the same, and I don't think. It works. Like, that's what we found. Like, season 1, like, people are responding to it. So we probably shouldn't change anything. Like, if anything, we're like dipping like a little bit more into like the original Teen Titans, like bringing in more guest stars.
Do you feel like maybe Cartoon Network should maybe give more shows a little bit more time to find their audience and not?
Oh, of course. I mean, I don't know. I think like every show, unless it's obviously really terrible, should have like at least 2 seasons. Just because it's like the first season, like part of it is like finding your feet. Then you have some genius, but you're still kind of, leveling everything out. And then like once you get into season 2, it's like, and it goes beyond just like creatively, like the top level creative stuff. It's like everybody, like the voice actors, me and Michael, but then there's the entire crew that you think about too, like the storyboard teams and the background design. These people are all on their game, like they know what to do and they can do it faster and better. And they're more willing to like take more like creative risks and liberties than they were like in season 1, and then even past them, it's like there's the entire animation crews in Vancouver and in Halifax, and these guys like love the characters, and they're getting like super good at drawing them and having a lot of fun with them too. So it's like there's all this like kind of knowledge and skill that's built up that's specific to this show that like if it goes away, it's all lost, and then it's like, well, that's a bummer. So yeah, I think everybody should get at least 2 seasons. That's how I feel about it.
I think so.